Well, hey guys, welcome back to this week's episode of the American Landman. Hey, you guys might recognize this cabin if you've been following me. Been talking about this now for 2 or 3 episodes. And if you're new to the channel, this is a property I actually purchased, and I'm doing a flip on a recreational piece of property. And that's what we talk about on this channel: buying, managing, and selling land, all types of land. And this happens to be a recreational property in Northeast Polk County, and I'm the lucky owner of this. So if you're interested in how I got this property, go back to some of my previous videos and you can learn more about it. But today we're going to talk about marketing this property, and then specifically doing trail camera surveys. So if you're interested in marketing a recreational property for a profitable flip, that's today's topic on the American Landman. Okay, well, I'm going to start off the video by talking about the type of cameras that I use and the placement of cameras. And this would be an example of where you don't want to place them. This is very open canopy, and if you're new to hunting, you may not realize this. A lot of folks think, you know, if there's woods, there's deer. And if you just go out there and maybe you have a piece of property that you're flipping yourself and you're not much of a hunter, you may not realize this. So this is called an open or closed canopy forest. You can see how mature these trees in here. Some of them are, you know, these are 100 feet tall, large trees. But what I'm talking about here is the canopy or the food down below. This is all open forest. There's not a lot of food down here. Therefore, the deer aren't going to be in this area. And it's a poor place to capture trail camera pictures unless they're completely undisturbed, and maybe possibly they're moving through here, possibly going to some ag fields, which we do have over here. So I am actually going to put a camera on a specific spot down here that we're going to talk about, because I'm sure the deer do move through here. But as soon as there's any pressure on them by you checking the cameras, you know, because you overzealous, you want to see what you got, they're not likely to be here. So when you're out and you're looking for places to hang your cameras, you want to focus on a couple different things. Number one, thick edge. So find places where perhaps some trees have been blown down or sawn down and logged out, and that area is grown up super thick. Those are thick areas that have bedding. They have soft mass in the forms of blackberries and raspberries. Deer like to eat those. A lot of forbs, a lot of tender woody browse, tips of young plants. That's what deer like. So that thick edge is area where they're going to bed and they're going to travel. Especially as we progress into the fall, those edges are where the deer like to rub, and you'll always find a trail, maybe a rub line where they've taken their antlers and they've rubbed on the side of trees, or maybe there's an overhanging branch and they'll rub their preorbital gland, their forehead gland. It becomes a scent marker for all the animals in the area. They all come to that spot. That'd be a great place to hang a camera. An area like this is just too darn open. They're not going to travel through here unless they have a reason to come through here. And then we're going to try to find a trail that they're crossing the road going to this food, because there's cornfields just to the south of us. So it is a reasonable place to put a camera. The type of cameras that we're going to use are simple, pretty high quality. I'm using a Browning camera here, but there's all types of brands. Find the one that you like, that you can afford, but get the best camera that you can afford. If it does video, that's fantastic. It's not necessary, but video is always ahead of photography. And if you have night vision, there's all types of cameras that have different capabilities for night. Some of them have infrared, where it's a no glow, meaning the deer aren't seeing a light like a red dot or something that tips them off that there's a camera there. A good buck or an educated deer will recognize that as a place that you've been, and they will tend to avoid it. The cameras that I'm using are probably around $100, 80 to 100 bucks. I have a pretty good size memory card in here. I think in here I've got probably 8 gig, or yep, I got a 32 gig card, and I'm going to be able to get plenty of pictures here, because I'm going to leave this out probably for, I don't know, a month maybe, and just let it run and capture some pictures. The second place that I'm going to focus on are funnels, and I'm going to look at this 60 acres and look for any feature that will squeeze these deer down. And as I bring up the map of this property, you can see that there's a wetland, there's a pond, and I've shown this before in other videos, and it was very predictable. The deer came around that pond, or I suspected they would, or they were coming to it because there was a lot of water there, and it was really the only water source on this property. So I'm going to put a camera on that trail, and I'm sure I'm going to get some deer coming around that because it's a very well-worn trail. It's very predictable. So if you're not a hunter, look for a feature that moves the deer where you want them to be, and we call that a funnel. Another classic spot is on the south, or excuse me, on the north side of that pond, and I'm going to put another camera there. There is a classic funnel. It's got a wetland up top, it's got the pond below, and there's a strip of woods in the middle. And my guess is that a lot of deer are being funneled through that pinch point and then off into the rest of the timber, and that's going to be a great place to put a camera. I haven't been there yet, but my suspicion is I'm going to find some sign in that spot. So that's what we're going to do. So when you do that, you capture these deer, and if you can get some good quality animals, and I would say, you know, whitetail obviously is our target animal in the types of properties we sell, and it's what most people want to see. They want to see good quality deer. If I can capture the deer that this area is known for, even better. They have 140, 150, 160, and even 170 and 180 on the rare opportunity in this area. If I could capture a buck of that size antler, when I'm talking 180, 170, 150, we're talking about number of inches of antler. The higher the number, the bigger the deer, the better the trophy, and the crazier the guys that are going to buy these properties get. So if you can capture a good deer, man, I tell you what, it's like solid gold. This property will fly off the shelf so quickly. But even if you don't, even if you just capture mediocre deer, maybe numbers of deer, there's a selling opportunity to that. There's plenty of people out there that are just looking for a property that is, you know, got good quality hunting. I could bring my son or my daughter, my wife, my family, just want to see deer. And if it has a good deer population, even better. If they're trophy, excellent, but they don't have to be. So whatever you capture, get a good clean picture, pick out some of the best ones, get the time and date stamp very clearly on your pictures, because people want to know that these are recent pictures, not something that you pulled out of the past. Sometimes, you know, there's kill pictures that are tastefully positioned and don't have a tongue hanging out and guts everywhere, clean, you know, well positioned, kind of honor the animal. Those can be okay, and I would definitely add those to a listing if you have it. But recent photos of the animals on the property are going to be key. So there's 3 areas that we're going to put a camera to. I'm going to put 3 of these out. One is going to be in this open area. I'm going to go down here. I got a cornfield. I'm within 100 yards of a cornfield. I'm going to see if I can find where these deer are crossing. We're going to hang a camera there if we see a good trail. Then we're going to get back. We're going to put one on that pond, as I mentioned, on the southern edge of the pond where the deer are wrapping around the pond, moving through the forest. And then we're going to hit the pinch point. And they're all fairly close to each other. We're going to let them run for a month, and we're going to see what we get. So I'm going to take you out in the woods. I'll show you how I set these things up. Let's get it done. Okay, well here's a great point that illustrates what I'm talking about. So this is a marker for a snowmobile trail, and it is also right at the end of the corn to a field here. But there's an opening right here, and what's happening is these deer are not wanting to jump that fence, and they're coming to this point, and sure enough, there's a good trail. So this is going to be a spot that they're going to funnel through here. They're kind of lazy creatures, and they're going to cross right here, and we're going to get a camera in here. So let me turn the camera on, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you can see the crossing right here. See how this trail is right here going into the timber? So they're coming out of the corn, and they're going in through here. This is all beat down. And I want this camera to be, you know, fairly accessible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back up in here, and I'm going to try to hang it on a tree, but get it away from, point it away from the road, and see if I can either get these deer coming in the morning, in the evening actually, going back towards the camera in the field, or maybe leaving in the morning, coming back out of the field, going back to bed. So that's the plan. So we're going to get in here, we're going to hang this camera. And it's easy to access. I can get in here and get out of here really simple, and nobody's going to know it's here. Okay, well here's our trail right here, and I'm about maybe 12 feet from a tree, and we're going to choose this tree right in front of us here. And what's nice about this is there's a clear line of sight for these cameras. There's nothing in the way. And you want to position these cameras so that they don't have a lot of leaves and twigs and ferns and movement, because they'll trigger the camera to take a bunch of pictures. So this is a pretty good site. I'll make sure that the camera is angled towards there, and it's back far enough, and it's also the tree is kind of hiding this camera. It's breaking up the outline. So we're going to set this on trail mode. It's got a 30-second delay, and we're going to see if we can capture something coming through here. You know, you can set the delay times and trigger speeds differently, because if there's multiple deer coming through here, might only get one photo on this area, but the cone, I saw a deer back there, the visual cone is like this, so if one deer comes through, it should trigger it. Hopefully they're not right on top of each other. I could set this up to do delays, and if I can remember how to set the settings, I will. But we're going to get it set up, and this is number 1. So definitely these deer are coming along here, and where Lucy just went in, there's a pretty good trail down here, and they're coming in, they're drinking, and they're probably playing in here, especially with this heat. So this is going to be an area that I think I'm likely to put a camera up. I'm not sure if all this grass, waving grass, is going to trigger it, but there's definitely activity right here, and I got some good trees behind me, and looks like there's an old bulldozer trail that comes through here. So this is a likely spot. I know they're coming around here, they're moving around here, and we'll see what we do. So this is camera spot number 2, just a funnel with the pond. I can't hardly keep her out of the water, I tell you that. Anywhere where there's water, you're gonna find Lucy. She is in it. It's a little treat for her, get her back here on this pond. And you know, if you're the owner of this place, bring your dogs out here and train them a little bit, because this is pretty cool. It's only 6 to 8 inches deep, but anywhere where you got water, you're gonna get Lucy, because she loves the water, don't you, baby? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, I think I'm gonna put camera number 2 right here. Right behind me is the entry point for the pond, and what's happening is these deer are coming through here. They're going to be real tight to the camera. I'm probably going to get a trigger right here, but hopefully if they're down there watering, I'm going to get some shots of them. That's the goal. So I don't like it necessarily because it's so close to the trail, but hopefully when they come in and water, I'm going to get them dwelling in that water and spending some time in front of the camera. So I most definitely am going to get a trigger, and I'm going to get a camera of them, a camera shot of them with one shot, because I'm not sure if I'm not figuring this out or if I only got one picture, I only got one setting on this camera. I'm really not sure. So if you recognize the camera, tell me how to use it. But I'm going to get one shot here. They're going to come in here. We're going to get a picture of them getting a drink. Okay, so the line of the property of the one I purchased is on this side, but this is the wetland right here. It's a tamarack swamp, and there's actually a line. The camera's got the marker right in front of it. I'm assuming that's accurate. Doesn't always mean it's perfectly accurate, but there's a deer trail that comes right along here. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to try to find a tree, focus it on this area right here, and see if we can't get these deer working. And this is this edge that I'm talking about. You know, later on, as the rut gets in full swing and the deer start moving, they're going to follow these edges. These are natural edges, so it's a perfect funnel. I got the wetland here, real thick tag alders. I got the pond, maybe 100 yards up there, and then sure enough, just as I thought, they're all coming from up there. They're getting pinched right through here. There's a little bit of elevation change right here. Thick, open deer trail. That's what you look for. So we're going to find a camera site somewhere along in here, focusing on this trail. Okay, well, this is the final camera. We got it turned on. Make sure everything's a go. Mosquitoes drive me crazy. All right, we got it set at a 20-second delay. Got fresh batteries, we're good to go. Guys, using trail cameras, if you're not a hunter, if you're an agent out there, or if you're just somebody that's buying land, you want to know what's going on, we talked about 3 good places to set up your trail cameras. One being orientating to a food source. And we're orientating it in a situation where we're either going to get them in the morning coming from the food going back to bedding, or in the evening when they're in bedding coming back to food. Number 2 was a pinch point of some point, someplace that funnels the deer to a predictable location. In this case, we used a water source. It's hot, it's dry, it's a good time to use water sources, and they're natural. And the deer most definitely were coming here, so we got a camera set up there. And then last place, we showed you on the map map overlay, we got a wetland, which is off the property. We're right on property line. We're into our side, but this is a funnel. So we got the pond up here, we got the wetland here, and we got the funnel, and sure enough, we found a trail. This is going to be a great spot when they start cruising and looking for does this fall. Hopefully, we're going to get some decent animal pictures. But as I said, they don't have to be record book. You can have quality deer, and that's what's going to take to help sell a property, and people will be very interested. So I hope those tips helped you out. If you're not a hunter, put them to use. If you're marketing a property that you have, trail camera pictures are like gold. So get out there and get them done. Hey, I'm Neil Hauger, and I'm a land specialist for Whitetail Properties Real Estate. You've been watching The American Landman. Make sure this thing is set. All right, we're good to go.